Well, hey everybody, I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to As Above, So Below, a rune and tarot divination for Monday, the 11th day of December 2023. Well, I messed up last week and thought Wednesday was Thursday. I was just sure of it, right? And I did the reading then, and I even put the right date on it, but no. And I didn't realize it until after I had already published it. I could have scheduled it for the following day, and then, it'd have been fine, but no. I don't know. Let's see. I guess tomorrow's the new moon in Sagittarius, but on Wednesday, Mercury retrograde begins. But there's always a week shadow period before and after. So instead of 3 weeks with Mercury, you really have about 5. And so it just could be that it was affecting me earlier. I have no idea, but I was thoroughly convinced that it was Thursday, but it was not. So apologies for any of the confusion you might have felt. Lord knows I did. So anyhow, I had to start this and then I had to reboot my computer because it didn't seem like my voice was syncing with the video. So as I was doing it, so I just went ahead and said, I'm just going to reboot, and I did, and so it seems fine now. So I just think it was just a memory issue. But anyway, clearly since I was having it before, anyway. But I'd already drawn the rune, so let's go ahead and take a look at Rado. Rado's the 5th rune of the Elder Futhark, and it's basically a bind rune in and of itself. It's comprised of Isa, Laguz, Vunyo, Kenaz, forward and reversed. And then down at the bottom, they're a little bit skewed. So we're really looking at, I think I said Laguz. We're looking at a bind rune. Most of the runes are. But again, it means rider and horse, integration, cycles, movement, process over the goal. What else does it mean? Justice, it's an air element rune. So justice, there's an element of that to it, I guess. But when we draw it, generally speaking, what we're looking at is the idea that maybe there's some kind of issue with collaboration with others. You could look at it from a strictly individual standpoint too, where you need a better integration, mind, body, spirit balance maybe in yourself. But generally speaking, because it's rider and horse, you think something else, or somebody else. And so maybe you're having issues with integration, or maybe this is the solution to some issues you've been having, and it requires integration with other people. But it's the idea that it's not so much about who owns what idea, but the overall outcome that matters. And so if you're having a conversation with others where you're planning something and you're all throwing ideas out there, you need to let go of them and just allow the group to own them all, and then whatever ends up happening happens. And sometimes, it might be not just one idea that works, but maybe the integration of more than one idea that works. And so you could also look at it that way. Given that it's an air element rune, you're talking about the intellectual side of things anyway. So I just think though that it we'll just say at this point that it has to do with some kind of collaborative effort where the process is more important than the goal. Again, we get caught up in those type of situations sometimes where we want to be the one whose idea is the one chosen, and so we push and push and push, and maybe that's not the best way to be today. So let's go ahead and throw down. Now that's the higher self side of things. The below side of things is the Geomancy rune. So let's take a look at, we'll put the runes in the order of fire, air, water, and earth and see what we have. Oh, well, this is interesting. Yeah, it's definitely something that's a collaborative because it's conjunctio. And conjunctio is about union or joining. Now, when did we have that last? Because it was right on the top of the stuff in the bowl. So let me go down here. Oh, well, we had it on, Wednesday, supposed to be Thursday. But anyway, we had this at the last reading. So it's conjunctio. Looks like a little hourglass, but it's union and joining, or unity or collaboration. So again, it's stressing it both. The issue is collaboration, and then the answer is how to do that from a higher perspective. Okay, so that's really how we're looking at this. So there's no conflict between the Elder Futhark rune and the Geomancy rune today. So let's go ahead and move on to the cards and see what they have to say. I'll just shuffle a little bit more. And we'll see what information it can give us on whatever is happening today for us. So let's cut the deck and take the lower half. Well, we have 2 from Pentacles and 1 from Wands. So given the 2 from Pentacles, we're looking at, and there's no court cards and no major cards. It's all from the minor arcana. So 2 from Pentacles, 1 from Wands. And so we're looking at something that has to do with material security. So the collaborative effort may involve, it could be something as simple as, especially when we're looking at the 3 of Wands here, it could be something as simple as you have a spouse, you have a family of kids or whatever, and you are a partner of some kind, and that's going to be impacted by the decisions that you make. So there could be some collaborative things going on there to where you make sure that the family's okay with what's coming. Or if they're not, then you need to have some conversation about that. But before we get into that completely, we decide that that's what this is about. Let's go ahead and look at this. We've got, let's see, the 6 of Pentacles, which we also had last Wednesday, and that's interesting. And we have the Ace of Pentacles, and then we have the 3 of Wands. And so we did not have any of that last week of the other 2, it looks like. We had an Ace of Swords on Monday of last week, but here we have the Ace of Pentacles. But let's leave it in the order that it is. We have 6 and 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10. So that reduces to 1, plus the 5 with Rado, 5 and 1 is 6. So again, we're going to have the 6 numerology for the reading. I think that, you're looking at empathy and compassion and assistance and guidance and all of that. So there could be a little element of that in here as well, with respect to whatever collaborative efforts you're making here, whatever that, in other words, if it's a family thing where everybody's got to be on the same page here, then think of it as like minds, so that in fact everybody is on the same page about what's going to happen. But let's go ahead and talk about the 6. Here, as we talked about last week, here you have a man of means who is offering coins to the outstretched hands of the guy wearing the yellow blanket. Now, the other guy on the ground wearing the blue is waiting, and we don't know if he's going to extend that same empathy or compassion for him. All we know is he's extending it for the other one. The other thing here is he's holding a scales. He obviously has the power in the relationship. Because he's got the red cloak on, the red tunic down here. He's got the red hat and all of that. So red is a power. So it's a fire element. The same with wands. Here you have the same sort of getup. So it seems to me that the person in control here is going to be dealing with some things here. And that could have to do with how to integrate with other people, how to make other people part of the process. Because here he's really not. You see the 6 pentacles above, and instead of 3 on each side denoting balance, here it's not. It's just kind of like, I don't know, it's like when you play hangman and you do this and then you do your hangman here. It's kind of like, that's what it reminds me of. He's holding the scales sort of behind him in a way. I mean, it's technically to the side, but his body is turned. And so it's almost like having fingers crossed behind your back, where I'm going to show how gracious I can be and how compassionate I can be, but maybe not. Okay, there's that element here where there's not a lot of, there's nobody lifting anybody up out of poverty. He's not offering them a job. He's not offering this guy anything as far as we know. We can assume that that's the case, and he's just started with this one. But but if that were the case, wouldn't he have coins in both hands and handing them to both people at the same time? So I think that there's the need and the desire to be seen as balanced in his endeavor here, but I'm not so sure that he is. Okay, I don't see the balance in this card. But then we come to the Ace of Pentacles. Now, aces are about the genesis of something. They're about new beginnings of some kind. And here it has to do with how you see material security. So it could mean that this guy's having a little bit of a transformation about what really constitutes, you know, the power that he has over people. Should that be the case? Or should there be a more egalitarian type of an experience where, again, he's lifting people up? Right? So the collaboration, the rado is not present in this card. In other words, neither is conjunctio. But then there's a shift. A new path opens where maybe he's got to think about how he looks at material security, both for himself and for other people who are depending on him. Again, we could look at it, we could look at this card as these two are depending upon this guy to help them out. So there's a sense of they're depending on him. So there's that aspect. But now he's got a new perspective that's happened here. We see a hand reaching out from the darker cloud, holding a large coin. You see some radiating energy from the hand. So this is the hand of spirit, isn't it? And to bring about a higher level, a higher perspective of what it is to be materially secure, and what you can do if you're in a position to do so to make others feel materially secure. And again, we have this integration, this partnership with rado and also with conjunctio. But here we see the new path forming. It's going under an archway. You see the hedgerow here, and it creates an archway there. You see some mountains in the background there. So it's not that there won't be difficulties and challenges. There will. But you start with the purity of motive here with the white lilies. And so perhaps, again, and I know I talked about this last week, sometimes we're not comfortable with sharing the limelight with other people or with integrating or collaborating with other people. If it's like if it's a work situation that this has to do with. But again, if you are the person if it's not that, you might be the person in authority in the family who has the job, maybe your partner does not, and the partner is dependent upon you. But maybe you get ahead of yourself and you think that means then you can control that person with that power that you have. And that's not going to work, is it? We know that. And so it could be that you have the man is out doing his thing at the expense of the family. The family doesn't know what's going on. And maybe he doesn't really know how to manage all of that. And instead of being, egalitarian at home where everything is discussed, at least between mom and the two partners, we'll say, because that can take any form, obviously. But at the same time, maybe you don't include the kids in that discussion. But yet at the same time, the kids are naturally going to be part of that discussion because their material security is just as important as the parents are, right? And but one partner is in the situation. Maybe he's not dealing well with that. That could be something that could be going on. And then a new perspective comes about, where you start to realize that if you're going to take a path forward, it's got to be done without this mindset of I'm the one in charge, I'm the one in control, I want to control the situation. So whether it's, again, and no one else has a voice, right? So whether this is family or whether this is a work situation, I think it would apply equally there to either one. And again, collaboration is key. Being able to respect the voices around you and to listen to them and to let go of your own need to control the outcome, because when that happens, the other people in the equation are all too easily dismissed, aren't they? And then once you do that, once you embark on that new journey with purity, with coming from the higher perspective, not the lower ego, all right? Then not the below side of things, although the below side of things is saying, yeah, you got to collaborate here. You got to let other people in, basically. You're not going to be the one controlling the outcome here. It's got to be a joint endeavor of some kind. Then we come to the man of means again, in the Three of Wands. Now, if you've looked at tarot before, or you've been here before, and you've seen the Two of Wands, you see the man looking in a different direction. He's still holding his staff. All right, he's still holding the staff. But on the other side, you see he's holding a staff, and then there's another staff affixed to the wall, I believe, a short wall. So he's probably up on some kind of either the top of a building or on a bridge or something like that. And you've got the little partial wall right there, and it's attached to that. And he's holding a globe in his hand. So he's almost like walking through a doorway, right, into new experiences, and he's making his decision about that in the Two. Well, in the Three, the decision has been made to take the new path, to change his perspective, and to then realize that there's more to the situation than just himself. Three is also about integration. It can be about communication. It can be about creativity. But it's essentially, he's walked through the door. You've got the doorway right here, in a sense, of the two staffs, and he's on the top of a hill or some such thing, and you see there's yellow throughout. You don't see the sun, but you see the vibrant energy of the yellow, also the fire element. You see a mixture of yellow and red in the bay below, but we know it's a bay because there's little ships on it, even though it's not blue. You've got the complementary color to red of green. And so this is all fire element, and it's all about creativity and new opportunities. And so once you get your head straight on how to integrate with other people, how to make other people important in your life and in the decisions that you need to make, and to give them a voice, and to have them also achieve the same level of material security as you're wanting to achieve. In other words, it all sort of collaborates together, whether you want it to or not. If you've got a family, they all matter. And the decisions you make, the way that you want to approach things, the new opportunities you select in terms of your job or career, all of that's going to impact your family. If it's a career setting, all the decisions that you make on the job itself, if you're a supervisor and you're the one in charge of doing that, if you don't allow for the input of others, then you're going to be seen as somebody who doesn't listen, right? But here you have a new way of looking at things that involve your material security. And when that happens, you see, new opportunities happen. When you take that new path, here are the opportunities you have coming your way. And you're just waiting for all of that to manifest, to see what happens after you make that decision to take the new path, like you would in the card just prior to this. If we had the Two, then it would reinforce the Ace, but we don't. So we're going to use the Ace as that impetus to then take a new path, and one that is more respectful of the needs of other people and the input of other people. And now the clothing has changed from here to here, but you still have your own inner authority here that allows you to then make the decisions you need to make for your career. But again, based on some kind of conversation, either with family or with coworkers, that then the decisions that you make then do well for everybody, is what I'm saying. And so that unity, that joining of conjunctio, is also manifesting as well. And then again with Rado, you understand the cause and effect of what you do impacts somebody else. Impacts the direction that you take. Especially if you think of Rado in terms of rider and horse, the direction that this guy is taking, there's an element of deception to this card that I feel anyway. Other tarot readers may not see it that way. They're probably like, what is she saying? But the fact that this is behind him, it's like, well, my fingers are crossed. I want everybody to think that I'm fair and balanced, but I'm really not. And so again, we don't know. He might be ready after he gives this guy some coins. Maybe he's going to do the same for this one. But what he's not doing is lifting them up out of the situation that they're in by offering them a job, or telling them, so-and-so is hiring, go over there. They can help you. There's no real help to lift them out of the situation that they're in. So there's always going to be this unnecessary power over the station of these people. Okay, in other words, he's keeping them at this place by doing what he's doing, by just giving him a few coins and maybe nothing for the other guy. So I think that although compassion and empathy and assistance is implied with the six, I'm not sure the Six of Pentacles really measures up to that. And so a shift in perception's got to happen. You got to think about things differently. What can you, if at work, if you're the one that's trying to get all the glory, that could be you getting the raise. Whereas the group itself you're working with, who literally should be part of that, is not, because you're the only one out in front saying, hey, I did this, when in fact it was a collaborative experience. So maybe it's about acknowledging something collaborative today that happened, so that you're not the only one getting the kudos, basically, and the material recognition and approval. So again, lack of integration that way. Excuse me, I need some tea. When it's clear that both sides of the equation with the runes are stressing that that needs to happen. And again, if you look at Rado and this is why I love this rune so much, the idea of process over goal. I'm a process person over the goal person. I'm not so much about, I want it to turn out right, but to me, the how I get there of it is important. And especially if I'm working with other people, I want to be able to hear what they have to say. I want some kind of shared decision to be made. I want people to be happy. I'm a Libra. I don't know. I want everybody to be happy with it all. And if someone isn't, then I'm concerned, right? Okay, well, what do we got to do to get you happy? What are we not seeing? What that you need? What is it you need that's not being expressed here and manifesting here? So what do we do? So I want everybody to be happy about it. And I realize that's not always realistic. Maybe someone isn't going to be happy, but they're willing to accept it. And so, and the reason they are is because they had a voice in it, right? And so there's that integration with Rado. So I love that rune. So anytime I draw it, I really just think there's an issue there where maybe the answer is to integrate. So something is happening where here, again, he's not really giving them what they need. He feels good about himself, but do they? See, I worry about that. Again, I'm a Libra. And again, if you think rider and horse, if that integration is not there, where's the horse going to go? Is it going to respond to the rider and the little nudge, a little pull on the reins, the little nudge with the knee or something, to where the horse knows exactly where to go? You don't know if you're not integrated, nobody knows where to go, right? And you can't get a good direction forward. So a shift in perception happens. You take the new path, leading to greater material security, and here's where it manifests. A much better outcome than if you were to, and granted, the fact he's there by himself, but if this is something that's then manifesting at home in terms of his own material security with his family, then I think that again shows integration. If it began at work, it ended up at home. It shows the cause and effect that can have. So I think, again, today, there could be something that's just not, gelling. And again, it has to do with how willing you are to let go of your own position on things, your own control of things, and to become one with the group, essentially. And see how that feels. Because when you do that, maybe new opportunities open that can then benefit everybody. So anyhow, that's it. That's all I got. I think we did. I don't think we need another card. Maybe in between the ace and the three, but I don't think so. I think it's pretty clear. You can get at loggerheads with people, and it's usually because you're trying to control the outcome. And maybe you just need to drop resistance and not do that. And listen to what other people have to say. They listen to you, and somehow or another you come up with something that's incredible, that leads to a greater level of security for you and if you have a family, for your family as well, and the group you're working with at work. So it's kind of a win-win everywhere, isn't it? So Anyhow, thanks for watching. Remember, new moon tomorrow in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is very forward looking, very adventurous, just always off on a quest, and a lot of fun to be around. My husband's a Sagittarian. His birthday was yesterday, and he cooked best meatloaf he's ever made, and the apple crumble was awesome. So I didn't do any of the cooking. He said, "No, I'll cook. I'll do the cooking." Whatever. No, he's a good cook, so it's fine with me. I don't care. I don't have to cook as much, and I don't cook that often anymore. But I do. I still do. But I felt bad because I should have been the one doing it. But he's like, no, 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 I'll do it. I like to bake. You know, remember, I like to bake. He made cookies the day before. It's like, oh, geez. I don't know. It's fun having a husband who cooks. So anyway, but again, thanks for watching. Come back on Thursday for the next one. And click subscribe if you haven't. I'd love you to do that, and give us a like if you would. That'd be cool. And again, come back on Thursday for another edition of As Above, So Below. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.